In the heart of the day, a fierce gang launched a daring assault on the mafia's fortress. Some disguised as pizza delivery, others lurking in shadows ready to strike, breaking through windows with ruthless precision. Among them, the coolest crew was Makoto's squad. He a tempest of formidable power, and beside him a girl who could read the deepest thoughts of others. But when the mafia boss revealed nothing about their target, the group reluctantly withdrew. Yet fate wasn't done on the way out. They collided with a rival gang known only as Y. Makoto stepped forward, his strength blazing like a wildfire unleashed, nearly 100% of his power ignited. But the Y gang matched his fury. Their combined force, a mirror to his own. Above them, a sword suspended in the sky symbolized the clash of these titans. Amid this modern chaos we meet Zero, the affable heart of his world surrounded by friends and the darling of the girls. Yet beneath his charm lies a quirky flaw, a stubborn refusal to eat vegetables, surviving mostly on meat, much of which was gifted to him, known as the cafeteria's notorious thief. The cooks kept a wary eye on him. As Zero darted across the school grounds, a determined girl trailed behind, clutching a bento box packed with greens, her mission force-feed him the very vegetables he despised. No matter how hard she tried, Zero slipped away like a shadow. Friends whispered of unrequited love, but her true concern was deeper fear, that he might disappear into thin air. Seeking peace, Zero hid atop the rooftop with a stray cat savouring a rare quiet moment. Suddenly a strange voice pierced the calm, jolting him awake. He blamed the cat for the eerie sound. Later, descending to class, he found the halls empty. No lessons had begun. A passerby revealed the next period was cancelled for a festival celebration. The same girl approached again, revealing the student council's desperate plea for volunteers. But no one stepped up, so the task fell squarely on Zero's shoulders. He had lost the communication device, so she scribbled a note reminding him, find it or he'd never graduate. His first mission, buy fireworks and bring the receipt to the council. Navigating the streets, Zero's path crossed with Makoto's gang, who quickly alerted their allies. Zero was exactly the person they sought, and they hastened to bring him to the council. Still clueless, Zero had just purchased the fireworks when a skateboarder suddenly charged at him swinging a bat. Instinctively, Zero dodged, bewildered by the attack. The assailant confirmed his target with chilling accuracy, sparking a wild chase through the bustling city streets. Zero weaved and dodged, finally leaping onto a pickup truck to shake off his pursuer. But the danger wasn't over. Two motorcycle riders roared in, forcing him to abandon the truck and sprint into a nearby alley. The hunters closed in relentlessly, and Zero found himself trapped by an ambush. Just as he was about to be caught, one attacker hurled flames towards him. Then, from the shadows, another young man appeared, silent and swift, rescuing Zero from the inferno. When Zero tried to thank him, a sword was pressed sharply against his face. This mysterious saviour sought Zero too convinced he was the incarnation of the Demon King himself. He introduced himself as Kuro, a loyal retainer to King Seigen VII, a guardian from a realm beyond the ordinary. The city's screens lit up with a chilling broadcast, a madman boldly claiming to be the Demon King. The image was a mirror of Zero himself, leaving him tangled in doubt, unsure how to deny such a haunting resemblance. Meanwhile, Makoto was already caught and locked away by the Waoi Association, fracturing their group into scattered, aimless pieces. Zero tried desperately to clear his name, but Kuro's trust was shattered. He answered only to King Seigen, not laws or pleas. Knowing escape was a fading dream, Zero begged for a deeper investigation, and if all failed, he asked for a merciful end. Kuro let him go, but then Zero's voice softened as he revealed a tender truth, a little sister battling cancer, and his haunting fear of being branded a murderer in her eyes. He crafted a fake name, handing it to Kuro with a sigh. But the moment Kuro read it, the sting of deception cut deep. Too late, Zero unleashed a flare hidden in his pocket, blinding Kuro and slipping away. Yet as Kuro turned, the truth emerged. Zero was disguised within that very suit. With that, Makoto's crew issued a 10 million yen bounty on his head. The bounty stirred a frenzy, some hungry for the prize, others calling it a cruel trick. Anna and Tsunade, sharp as hawks, narrowed down Zero's possible hideouts and sent scouts to probe Zero, cloaked in disguise, moved cautiously, ever alert. The moment he spotted Kuro, he vanished like a shadow. Fate then threw him face to face with a skateboarder, wielding a baseball bat, the same hothead who had scolded Kuro for letting Zero slip away. Suddenly, the skateboarder was atop a rooftop, cheering on their chaotic duel before swooping in to capture Kuro himself. The skateboarder's temper flared, charging at Kuro like a fierce storm. But Kuro was no easy prey. He hurled a billboard into the attacker and dashed off to catch Zero. Once again, Zero slipped through his fingers and fled home to hide, resting on his bed. Kuro pondered the possibility that the figure in the video was nothing but AI. Then the cat he'd brought home transformed. A stunning girl appeared, claiming to be the very cat. She asked to be called Neko later at school. Kuro's quest caught the attention of one of Zero's friends. She offered to guide him to where Zero was hiding. Kuro struggled to dress Neko, who resented clothes and teleported away like a true feline rogue. Suddenly, a classmate called out, and Kuro jumped to check, only to freeze when he saw the skateboarder. He taunted Kuro about Zero's sister, then lunged forward, but Neko bravely stepped in as a shield. Flustered, Kuro stumbled, giving Zero and Neko the opening to escape. Neko wove an illusion, stretching the hallway endlessly to buy Zero precious seconds to flee. Once Neko left the hallway, snapped back to normal, and Zero risked a daring climb out. Kuro chased using his powers to seize him, but Neko teleported Kuro away and conjured a giant cat illusion to hold him back, giving Zero a brief reprieve. The chase roared on through the school grounds, Neko weaving illusions to trick Kuro at every turn. Exhausted, their wild pursuit stretched into dawn, leaving all three drained and retreating. Neko's hunger broke the tension, prompting Zero to cook for her. Kuro, equally famished, reluctantly agreed. He found a forgotten bag with a note revealing Neko's name. Kori inside. Kuro's own cooking utensils awaited, so he took charge in the kitchen. After sharing a meal, the trio regrouped, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, Kata, the ruthless leader of the YY Association, visited Makoto. On that fateful day, Makoto had surrendered without a fight, letting himself be captured. Kata's warning was grim. If Makoto tapped into his ultimate power, his sword would spiral out of control, igniting disaster. That's why he let himself fall, to let Kata watch over him. But constant vigilance was impossible. Kata knew he couldn't guard Makoto every second. Later, Kata met with a subordinate who coldly proposed Makoto's execution to prevent catastrophe. She suggested heavy sedatives or muscle relaxants as alternatives. They also planned deeper investigations into the Sairo lookalike's case, linking it to a recent smuggling scandal involving weapons. The police were now seriously involved, so she aimed to cooperate to extract intel. She even sought to control the viral videos from Makoto's side, turning them into forgettable clips. In response, rival factions flooded the net with those videos, desperate to unmask the culprit. Tensions flared. Some accused Makoto of betrayal after his easy capture. But Tsunade explained Makoto's surrender was a strategic move, forcing Kata to watch him closely while they gained freedom to act unseen. Meanwhile, Zero's curiosity about the group hunting him grew. Kuro revealed they were gangs serving their own kings. These kings wielded unimaginable strength and power, shaping the very world's fate. Kuro's own pursuit of Zero was a royal decree. King Segan, a master astrologer, feared a successor like Zero falling to darkness, so he ordered his elimination before disaster could strike. Back to the bigger picture. Governments crumbled without the king's might, turning into petty states crushed by their neighbours. 7 kings ruled, each marked by a different colour. Makoto's faction was red, one word: ruthless. Just look at that skateboarder who took down the Ra Mafia. Their ferocity needs no explanation. This gang was infamous for their bloodthirsty savagery. Fueled by rage, Kuro demanded to strike Zero down immediately. But Zero insisted he needed proof that he was truly the Demon King's heir. Kuro produced Makoto's footage, which Zero accepted as genuine. If I had power, he challenged. Why would I run from them? But Kuro's next question cut deeper. What was? Neko Zero had no answer, revealing Neko's rare gift, power beyond any king's blessing. Zero vowed to prove his innocence. Kuro hesitated, but granted a temporary reprieve. One misstep, one hint of guilt, and Zero would be struck down without mercy. The next morning, Kuro prepared lunch for the trio. A cleaning robot caused chaos, so Neko smashed it to free Zero. Yet Kuro's eyes betrayed his concern. How would Zero clear his name when he was lost in everyday life? In class, suspicion arose. Was Kuro really AI? Zero spun a tale claiming to be a transfer student. Kukukuri greeted him warmly. Neko tried to doodle mischievously, but was caught by Kuro, forced to shift form. When questioned again, Zero stuck to his story. At lunch, Kukuri was surprised when Zero brought his own meal, a small moment of normalcy in a storm of chaos. Neko devoured everything, then begged Kukuri for food, only to instantly regret it because it was all veggies. Meanwhile, Zero found a blurry photo of someone resembling himself. Too faded to confirm, his classmate also tracked down that footage and urged him to turn back. At the same time, Makoto's gang uncovered info on the culprit they were after and arrived at Zero's school. Now Zero was cooking up a plan to prove his innocence. His idea: prove that when the villain appeared on the footage just before noon, he wasn't anywhere near the scene. Kuro doubted anyone could pull that off. After all, staying inside school all day was impossible. But Zero remembered how chaotic that day was, and believed he could find the proof he needed. Meanwhile, Makoto's crew pinpointed the school's location, while the skateboarder just ditched without a plan. Zero asked Kukuri about his clumsy confession that day. She wasn't sure since he kept popping in and out like a ghost. After the confession fiasco, the student council stepped in. Zero sought out the council president, but she had no memory of the event, too small a thing to care about. The incident made the news, but Zero wasn't in any photos. They told him to check with the photography club. Yet that night, a fire broke out while they were shooting, shifting their focus entirely. Zero was left without a single image to back him up. Kuro's patience thinned. If Zero didn't find proof soon, Kuro was ready to crack down. His tense expression said it all. Then, Kukuri showed up at Kuro's house, bringing a pile of stuff to the faculty room that sparked a new idea for Zero. He asked the teacher for the list of students who left campus that day, and there he was missing from the list. So Zero hadn't stepped outside school after all. He couldn't be the culprit. Neko demanded food again, so Zero went to the vending machine, only to forget his school-issued phone, forcing Kukuri to buy for him. Kuro wondered if forgetting the phone meant Zero could sneak out anyway. Kukuri revealed Zero had a secret escape route. No need for main gates. Kuro reached for his sword, ready to settle this here and now. But Zero begged for one last chance. Kuro scoffed, thinking Zero was making a joke of himself. Yet Neko had no plans to harm Zero either. Seeing them protect each other softened Kuro a reminder of how his own master once was. Kuro mentioned other events that day, and Kukuri suddenly recalled seeing Zero at the gym around 12:30, backed up by photos. With that, Kuro declared Zero innocent. No way he could make it from the crime scene back there in under an hour. The trio returned to school duties later. Zero relaxed at home but found a blood-stained shirt in his closet, making him wonder if maybe, just maybe, he was the culprit without even knowing. Meanwhile, 2 Makoto members tried sneaking into the school but got stuck without permission. It was festival day, so Kuro stepped up as class leader, organizing everything smoothly. Noticing Kukukuri's torn sleeve, Kuro took it upon himself to mend it. Zero, lost in thought, couldn't believe he had cleared his name, but still might be the real criminal. Still, he set those fears aside and forced a calm front with his friends, because sometimes surviving means pretending everything's fine. The Fae faction had arranged a trip to the school, hoping to unmask whether Zero was truly the culprit. Enter Simi, the bespectacled youth, a double agent straddling the red and blue sides. Meanwhile, 2 red faction thugs, having snatched phones from a couple of students, slipped inside the school. At the very moment Zero's trio managed to sneak out through a secret path, he discovered their mission: to recover fireworks Zero had lost when Kuru chased him down. Zero's lost his ID phone, forcing them to choose this hidden route. Once outside, the trio paused to gaze at the sea. Brief moment of calm, but the Y faction had also arrived, threatening to sully the school's reputation if they didn't cooperate. The school, desperate to protect student privacy, found itself caught in a bind. Simi slipped away while the two red operatives began interrogating others, yet no one recognized Zero. Simi and the red agents nearly crossed paths, separated only by a fountain's gentle roar. Simi infiltrated the student council, drugging one member to leverage their authority and compare students to those in the mysterious video. As he awaited results, he spotted the red duo still harassing and threatening people, sparking an idea. Meanwhile, those two red thugs were told off by a skateboarding youth for being loud with a girl, revealing his shy side. Simi couldn't resist teasing him, poking old wounds. Watching both sides, I'm convinced Simi's no mere spy, he's a traitor. He knows the skateboarder's real name is Misaki, but hates it so much he forbids Simi from saying it. Yet Simi keeps provoking, triggering Misaki's temper. Misaki holds back because Makoto remains in Blue's hands, but the more Simi pushes, the harder. Misaki snaps. Misaki transforms into a furious whirlwind, charging forward. Simi counters with precise sword strikes. Their clash, a storm of attack and defense. Neither gaining ground, Misaki suspects. Simi's rusty, but the double agent's power has only grown. As their battle rages, Simi hurls a hidden weapon, flipping Misaki off balance. Simi's strength truly swells, fueled by both red and blue powers. Misaki's comrades try to intervene, but are cut down by dual blades. Misaki unleashes everything until suddenly the Y faction's vice president arrives, halting the fight. She reminds them, this isn't the time for bloodshed. Misaki recognizes her as Siri Carter's right hand. Siri urges their side to yield and leave, but Misaki's indifferent. She reveals Makoto is alive and well, easing tensions. Hearing this, Misaki grudgingly backs down. Simi faces punishment for causing trouble and breaching school secrets. Yet Siri still demands to know what he uncovered. Misaki decides to question one more person before leaving. None other than Kukuri herself. But Kukuri claims she doesn't recognize the person in the photo. Simi can't find Zero among the school's ranks, fueling suspicion that the culprit is an imposter posing as a student. Meanwhile, Zero's crew stops at a diner with Neko loudly proclaiming hunger. Zero wrestles with doubt. Could he really be the villain? After all, he's the only one captured in those photos. Kuro's determined to find whoever framed Zero. The diner owner's walls boast photos of regulars, but none of Zero. Oddly, he's known as a frequent visitor. Meanwhile, Siri visits Tsunaji, expressing concern about Makoto's growing power. If he loses control again, Japan's map might need redrawing. Tsunaji explains Makoto sought refuge with Kata's faction, just wanting one peaceful night, free from fear of his own destructive potential. Tsunaji shares a tale of a friend once dear to both him and Makoto, now lost to time. This friend revered Makoto and dreamed of serving him as royal aide. Back with Zero, he's troubled by something prompting Kuro to suggest calling Kukuri. Yet Neko acts strangely, refusing and preferring to confront questions directly. When Zero calls Kukuri, she claims no knowledge of Zero as an AI, deepening the mystery. Her tone feels genuine, not mocking, sparking doubt between them. As they prepare to leave, Zero tries calling home, but the number doesn't exist. He wonders if he misdialed or lied to himself. Kuro suspects Zero's mind is unraveling. They then revisit events from the past. The victim's name, Toshuka. In the red faction, he was cheerful and lively, much like Zero now, though no fighter, every AI regarded him like family. But just a week ago, he was murdered before their eyes. Misaki mourns his loss deeply. Tsunaji returns Toshuka's camera to Makoto. Meanwhile, Zero and Kuro head home, but the place feels like a barren sports field. Zero questions his own existence. Does he even exist, or was Zero never real to begin with? As memories fail him, he asks Kuro to end his life, believing no AI even knows if he's alive. Kuro hesitates, but his master's words guide him to urge Zero to fight for his true identity. Suddenly, the Y faction surrounds them, ordering their arrest. Kuro refuses, swords drawn on all sides. Nearby, Neko appears, plunging everyone into an illusion to aid their escape. Just as they near freedom, Siri blocks their path. Kuro steps up to fight without drawing his sword, matching her blow for blow, but Simi orders Katar into battle. He draws his blade and breaks through the barrier. Katar explains Neko's power, so Kuro decides to stall, giving the others time to flee. Neko dashes away, dragging Siro along. Bound, by Kuro's rule, he never unsheathes his sword. Kata attacks with only the scabbard, mocking Kuro's skills. Kuro's no match for a king, forced to surrender quickly. But as Neko escapes with Siro, he suddenly stops, glancing back for reasons unknown. Kuro faces Kata's scornful words, his former master deemed weak and unworthy. Now Kuro willingly serves Siro, the new king. Kata suspects Siro's a cunning schemer willing to sacrifice Kuro for dark plans. Yet Kuro knows Siro's heart well enough to trust him. Unexpectedly, Siro returns, unable to abandon his friends. He summons the king's sword, unleashing a strike rivaling Kata's power, but it's merely a feint buying time for Kuro to escape. Then Siro vanishes too. The trio hides in an alley, revealing the earlier clash was Neko's illusion, creating a false sense of familiarity from each person's memories. Siro's long stay at the school wasn't by chance. It was Nico who wove a thread of belonging into his friend's memories. She rewrote his past, crafting a new reality. Now, Siro begs her to undo it, to restore the truth so he can face himself, wondering if he truly deserves to be the one Kuro seeks. Kuro urges him to think deeply, but Siro is ready to bear the weight of every choice he's made. As his memories rewind, that night plays out. He fell from the sky, crashing into the school's gym, where Nico found him. She claimed him, wholly offering a false memory and a new name to bind him to her. But the basics weren't enough for Siro. He craved the whole story. Neko, protective yet hopeful, wants. His promise that after seeing everything, he won't leave her behind, Siro swears it. Then she reveals the moment he was kicked off a plane by an unknown assailant, plummeting straight down. When Siro looks up, the very airship reappears in the sky like a haunting ghost. Together with his two friends, he returns one last time to the bridge leading to the school, a place he once called home, to say goodbye. Kuro urges them to leave, first urging caution. The Green faction tracks them, but the trio now chooses freedom above all living, wild, free, and chasing joy. Meanwhile, the Kata faction sharpens its gaze, making Siro's capture their top priority. Yet the challenge is clear. Siro isn't alone. Two fierce allies stand beside him. Simi arrives with grim news. A search team was attacked and is now recovering from their wounds. The attacker Kuro, and he left a chilling message. 14 o'clock. They wait, tense, until the hour strikes, and Siro calls in, hidden and untouchable. He demands Katar reveal who the figure on that flying ship truly is, the real culprit. He offers a deal. If Katar detains this person, he will step forward. Katar hesitates, fearing a rescue attempt by the others. But soon, Katar changes his tune, stalling as he tracks the target. He agrees to capture the first king, but in return, all three from Siro's group must show themselves. Just then, Simi's team closes in on the vehicle, where Siro's group hides, but when they open it, the trio has vanished, slipping beneath the river's ferry. Kuro is the one who spots them and pulls them to safety. With his plan foiled, Katar is forced to honour the bargain and moves to capture the first king. Siro suggests seeking permission from the second king first, but Katar knows better. He'll strike first report, later, and take full responsibility. His comrades wonder why he pushes so hard, not for Siro's deal, but because the first king's recent involvement in dark crimes has caught his eye. The flight path of the airship, once fixed, has suddenly shifted, an ominous sign. They press on, hunting the first king. Accused of ties to Toshuka's death, a Makoto gang member. Helicopters start ascending. A strike team moves in. If the target resists for minutes or if the mission fails, all hell breaks loose, guns blazing without mercy. The first king, sensing guests, stands ready to face them. Zero turns to Koru, asking about this elusive first king. Known as the Silver King, he's shrouded in mystery. So powerful that the Golden King, the financial overlord, ranks only second to him. He rules the skies, the supreme ruler among kings. Now the three have stolen a helicopter, disguised to infiltrate and close in on the Silver King's ship, ready for the storm to come. Neko, driven by impatience, slammed the controls forward, just as collision with the Silver King's ship seemed inevitable. The Silver King detonated his entire fleet in a blinding flash. Suddenly, I'm thrown back to a time when the Silver King still served in the military, conducting experiments to unravel the mysteries of the power and kings ruling our present. The Silver King had a sister both backed by the army for this daunting trial, but tragedy struck. He lost the sister he cherished deeply, a loss born from the very power he sought to understand. The Silver King saw that power as a grave mistake. When the war ended, he cast off everything, boarded a ship, and vanished into hiding ever since. Back in the present as the ship crashes, many have long believed this vessel to be a divine relic, or relic of saints only to uncover. It was nothing extraordinary. At Zero's old school, a few hold a faint memory, as if once someone vital could have lent a hand, but the details slip away like smoke. It turns out it was AI. Preparations for the festival are still unfinished, but someone close to Zero visits his room, sensing a familiar AI once lived here. Yet no AI dares claim to be Qatar. Now, Qatar seeks out the second king, known as the Golden King. A brief, tense greeting passes with the Golden King. Curious about Qatar's purpose, Qatar simply wants to talk. For now, the battle pauses. Qatar's mission is to retrieve a body suspected to be the Silver King's for examination. The Silver King lived immortal for decades without aging, but now his sudden death raises dark suspicions. Yet, seeing the Golden King's threatening surge of energy, Qatar knows better than to challenge him. His land still needs this powerful force, so he retreats, biding his time. Meanwhile, Makoto languishes in a prison cell when a phone is slipped to him. The voice on the other end claims to have killed Toshuka and seeks to steal Makoto's energy. But Makoto turns the power back on them, tracing their location. The Red faction, alerted by Makoto's energy flare, quickly mobilizes. Breaking his chains, Makoto escapes prison, driven by resolve. The Blue faction throws every security measure at him, but all fail. Every AI blocking Makoto's path is blasted away by his overwhelming power. Helpless, the AI fall under his might, forced to let him pass. When Makoto wills it no AI can stand in his way, his crew rallies, heading to the school in pursuit. Makoto calls out by phone. Students spotting his group scatter like shadows at dawn. To stop their escape, he cuts down the clock tower, freezing them in place. Tsunaji urges calm and cooperation, promising no harm if they comply. The group splits to search, but the AI's hacking tactics sow distrust, leaving students too frightened to help. Tsunaji advises flexibility, respond as needed, but never harm innocents. Blue faction forces arrive, prompting him to thin out his team. Anna still hunts the elusive fugitive, but Tsunaji believes the rat will soon fall into the trap, no need to rush. Outside, Qatar holds back reinforcements, knowing that the 7th King Zero will face off against Makoto. Both are wild cards, dangerous and unpredictable. Letting them clash may be the safest bet. A way for Qatar to play the quiet third party. Meanwhile, Makoto's faction seizes full control of the school. Any AI trying to escape are swiftly caught and locked back inside. Tsunaji tells Misaki to hold back her impatience. Though she wants to castrate Simi, she must wait. Simi had already planned to leave, worn down by childish antics, and tired of the pride that once fueled him. Simi's itching to fight, but without orders he restrains himself. Later, Tsunaji visits Makoto to reminisce about Toshuka, noting only Toshuka ever sensed something unique in Makoto. He also warns Makoto that someone's come looking for him. Anna stays on watch while Makoto steps out, only to run into Qatar. They share a casual chat, but Qatar urges Makoto to withdraw and leave Zero to him. Makoto refuses every offer. Katar warns that if Makoto unleashes his full power again, disaster will strike thousands of innocent lives at risk. But Makoto insists, let AI handle their own battles and leave him be. Katar still calls him friend, asking once more if Makoto is certain. Makoto stands firm in his decision. Zero's group returns to their hideout, only to find it vandalized by that AI. They know breaking into the school now is nearly impossible. Both blue and red factions hold tight. If worst comes to worst, the entire island could become a battlefield. Unsure of their next move, Zero recalls the words left by Kuru's master, the owner of the mysterious X. But Kuru believes their path is clear. They must rescue Kukuri and the others. First, they need to locate them. The next morning, Misaki calls Sanji to request reinforcements. Meanwhile, Makoto is haunted by Katar's words from the night before, still unsure what orders to give. Suddenly, black smoke billows inside Makoto, immediately commands readiness. Misaki's squad waits at the gates, ready to clash as Blue faction advances, sparking a fierce showdown. Katar leaves the chaos to Zero, and Simi heading off to other fires. He spots a traitor about to be crushed under a boulder, and intervenes only for the traitor to stab him in betrayal. Katar releases the rocks, letting fate decide. Sanji hears a louder explosion, suspecting a heavy artillery has arrived. Anna, fearing trouble, rushes to investigate, but is targeted and shot at, luckily. Dodging the bullets, Kukuri flees with classmates, unexpectedly crossing paths with Zero's crew, where Makoto waits. The red and blue factions' conflict only deepens. Anna, gripped by fear of impending danger, dashed to investigate. As she scanned her surroundings, a shot rang out, narrowly missing her. Meanwhile, Kukuri was fleeing with her classmates when they unexpectedly crossed paths with Zero's group, but lurking in the shadows was Makoto, poised to confront them. The tension between the red and blue factions thickened like a storm, ready to break. Misaki charged towards Zero, only to be intercepted by Simi. It was time to settle old scores once and for all. Makoto, confused by Zero's earlier invitation to this confrontation, questioned why he now seemed intent on escaping. Yet Zero's words alone wouldn't convince anyone, so Kuru stepped up to the challenge, only to be effortlessly tossed aside. Neko conjured illusions to obscure their movements, but Makoto merely stomped his foot. Vanishing in an instant, Kuru remained behind, trying to buy time, yet his efforts fell short against Makoto's relentless assault. As Makoto unleashed his devastating attack, Kuru narrowly dodged and closed in for close combat. Desiring to end this quickly, Makoto transformed into a blazing sun, nearly incinerating everything in his path. If not for Katar's timely intervention, who rushed in to shield Zero's group, the inferno would have consumed them all. Neko contemplated retreat, feeling powerless against Makoto. But just then, Kukuri spotted Zero's wounds and felt compelled to investigate. In a shocking twist, she thrust a blade into him. It turned out that Kukuri had been masquerading as a foe, the very one who had summoned Makoto to shoot at Anna and stab Carter moments ago. He sought to awaken the memories Zero had buried deep within. Zero, overwhelmed by a torrent of emotions, remained in a daze, until Kuru called out to him persistently. Kukuri slipped away into the shadows. In that moment of clarity, Zero recalled his past with the Silver King. Suddenly he surged to his feet, a column of energy radiating from him, halting the battle as everyone turned to Kuru, intrigued by Zero's injuries. With newfound resolve, Zero revealed his true identity, Immortal. He was none other than the legendary King Adolf, known as the Silver King. His sword, now fully awakened, shimmered with untold power. The Golden King chuckled, amused by Zero's knack for surprises, but Zero, still unsure, clung to his current self. Zero standing among his friends, his giant sword vanished as quickly as it appeared. Meanwhile, Simi urged Misaki to keep her eyes sharp on the battle. The two sides reignited, plunged back into the fierce fight. The two kings, seeing the chaos return to its deadly rhythm, resumed their final brutal duel. Meanwhile, Zero's memories crystallized. The seven kings had hunted him down, swapped bodies and thrown him from the airship. In truth, the seven kings used this body to kill Toshuka, then blamed the Silver King for the crime. Beyond him, they had stolen many bodies, and Kukuri's form earlier was no exception. Together, the group set out to rescue Kukuri. As the two factions clashed, the king's swords reappeared. Locked in a deadly dance, Zero was forced to leave his post and assess the unfolding chaos. He and Neko found Kukuri granting her the gift of flight, inviting her to join their cause. Meanwhile, Misaki and Simi burned with battle fervor.